Hello, everybody. So, before I even start, I just want to say this. Doesn't it feel good to finally have a win? Boy, does it feel good, because let's be honest, this past year has been depressing, to say the least. And with these elections and with the passing of Prop 50, we need to realize that we are currently only feeling a fraction of the joy that the GOP felt when Trump passed. So just imagine the amount of joy that we will feel when we see a new blue presidential candidate in office. And I'm gonna chase that feeling for a little while because it feels good to finally have that win. It feels good. So let's all pat ourselves on the back if we voted for Prop 50, if we voted for these candidates in office. And it's time to celebrate. But our work is not done, which is why I am keeping up with this video, because I want to kind of explain and recontextualize this blue wave of what's been happening. And this all starts with why I got into politics. As some of you may recall, I had been a previous candidate. And the reason why I started my political journey was because I was fed up. Trump had just passed into office and nobody was saying anything. And I mean downright nobody. People were afraid, and rightly so, because it was fascism. And right now, things are far from over. But we are seeing things happen. And I want to acknowledge that. So, with that being said, here are the few wins that we've seen so far. America got its first Muslim woman in a statewide office, so congratulations, Ghazala Hashmi. Virginia got its first woman in office as Governor Abigail Spanberger. And of course, New Jersey got its first Democratic woman governor, Mikey Sherrill. And of course, we need to talk about the big star of the event, Zohran Mamdani. That's right, he won. And congratulations, Zohran. I've been singing New York, New York ever since, and playing some good old Sinatra. But what's been very fun to see is the string in common with all of these elections. As you may remember, Trump, his main rhetoric was clean out the swamp, let's get the corruption, fake news, etc., and of course, unaffordability. And unaffordability has actually been the similar theme throughout all of these candidatorial election. All of them have been decrying the unfair wages, the unfair rent, the unfair living conditions that the Trump administration has had to put so far. And I think that people are starting to realize that Trump has done nothing, and I really mean nothing, but hurt the economy, our American integrity, hurt our immigrants, and has downright lied. So, the Republicans were hoping for a win. And I say theirs. How dare they even hope for a win when our president wants to gut down the East Wing, build a $300 million ballroom, and has refurbished the Lincoln bathroom with gold and marble. I mean, seriously, Donald Trump, pick one. Either you're going to be commander in chief or you're going to be White House decorator in chief, but you cannot possibly be both. And not only that, but Trump has been also in this past week, he has hosted a Great Gatsby themed party at Mar-a-Lago, that's right, the scene of the crime, while refusing to fully fund food assistant benefit programs. And I want to talk more about the food assistant benefit programs because as of today, U.S. District Judge John McConnell ordered Trump to fully fund SNAP benefits by Friday. And that's right, a lot of Americans have even had to skip meals already and have suffered through the lack of EBT already. To put this into perspective, nearly 42 million Americans rely on SNAP assistance. Around 4 in 5 of these households include a child, an older adult, or someone with a disability. And this is a stat by NBC News. And to put this further into perspective, there's 42 million Americans who have had to rely on SNAP assistance. And there's only 39.4 million Californians, if that puts it into perspective. And I think that says a lot about our economy because the huge amount of people that have to rely on these SNAP assistant benefits is not the fault of the people. It's the fault of the government. They're not trying to get away scot-free. Just most of them cannot even afford to live with the minimal wages that our country has to offer. And look, although some people may say that, sure, Trump will deny and that the fact that the judge tried to sue Trump will amount to nothing, and a lot of people will try to play devil's advocate that all these actions, these small actions, don't really amount to anything towards the Trump administration. I just want to remind you this. We've seen clearly a new blue wave. People are pissed off. And the truth speaks for itself. I mean, I don't really know where this is going to lead us, frankly. Nobody does. But I can say this. As long as we keep pushing forward, as long as we keep shoving, as long as we keep making our voices heard, no matter how big or small the action, it will amount to something. It is exponential. And if we keep doing our civic duty as Americans, we will have, hopefully, a progressive political climate. And at the end of the day, we don't really know where this is going to lead. But we owe it to ourselves, to our posterity, to our friends and family, to try to dream for a better future, to try to dream for an American future where our immigrants do not have to live in fear, where people do not feel put on the fringes of society, where people can afford to live by a respectable wage. We owe it to ourselves. And here's another reason why I see that we are changing, because even Mike Johnson has acknowledged that Trump is afraid, maybe not overtly, but you can definitely see it when he said that, and he stressed this, that Trump has been endorsing left and right different candidates for the 2026 elections, and that his agenda is being stressed upon on the ballot, and that even Mike Johnson thinks that if the GOP loses control of the House to Democrats, they will impeach Trump on their first day. And to that I have to say, it's refreshing to finally hear someone speak the truth, because damn right, Mike Johnson, that's really one true thing that you have said. If the Democrats gain control of the House, I hope to God above that they will impeach Trump on his first day in office. I really want to see Trump impeached. But with that being said, I want to talk about this blue wave and the broader picture. Let's be honest. I mean, as much as it's exciting to see governors in New Jersey and Virginia who are Democratic, we also need to acknowledge the fact that being progressive does not only end with internal policy. It needs to be reflected in external policy. And it's no secret that both newly elected governors of New Jersey and Virginia have been heavily funded by AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. And this has been, of course, tied to lobbying towards the Palestinian genocide. And AIPAC, it's no secret that they've sided with Netanyahu. And that is to say, being blue really should not stop with internal policy. And this is much bigger than being blue. It's about being progressive. And we need to keep our elected officials accountable, especially the new ones. And we need to keep demanding that they denounce AIPAC and the Palestinian genocide. And we need to keep demanding that they be progressive. And I therefore want to throw my hat out to Mamdani for not being funded by AIPAC. AIPAC has really no business in American politics. Simply put, it is blood money funding a genocide where human beings are being starved to death and carpet bombed. It has no place to have lobbying potential in our American politics. And that's why I'm really happy to say that Mamdani does not have AIPAC money, nor does AOC, nor does Bernie Sanders. Cough, cough. Keep that in mind for the next presidential elections, maybe. And that's the thing. This blue wave needs to happen from the people. It's not only going to happen from the politicians. We need to remember the social contract that, at the end of the day, we the people hold the power to bargain. We the people have the power. We the people have the power to set agendas, and we need to keep on pushing this agenda of progress. We need to make sure that the GOP is held accountable for their monstrous actions. We need to make sure that Democrats such as Cuomo do not have a say in the Democratic Party nor in our American politics. We need to make sure that Democrats fully embrace this new wave of progressivism. We need to make sure that the progressive voice of the American people is never silenced. And we need to make sure that our immigrants that are being detained are released and that ICE is held in check. We need to make sure that we redefine what American is. And America needs to stand for progress. It needs to stand for we the people. Because it's not enough to simply be a Democrat in this day and age. We need to be non-corporate. We need to be fully for the people. And we need to realize this. We need to set our internal policies with our external policies. And we need to be megaphones of the people. That being said, this channel, if you're new here, well, welcome to the wave. But if you've been here for a little while, you can expect some few changes. There is a need, and a clear need, for grassroots movements that are meant to inform the people. And I just want you to know that at this moment and stage, I will be fully pursuing political advocacy because we need more advocacy to keep politicians in check who are not progressive. And I will be such an advocate. So here are a few things that you can expect. Firstly, there will be 2 videos posted per week. And I have a lot of interesting topics planned, such as fully explaining what is AIPAC, such as fully explaining how propaganda got into our American politics, such as doing book reviews to supplement our current political climate. I will be furthermore interviewing candidates who are progressive, interviewing teachers, interviewing union members, because we need to build a community. And we need to make sure that America is the United States and that we are united in progress. So to finish off, I want to say a few words of my favorite president, Theodore Roosevelt, who was the founder of the Progressive Party. So, as you may recall, I've said this in my past video, but Theodore Roosevelt was once asked, "How you feeling, Teddy?" And to reiterate his words, with this new win, this new blue tsunami, I am feeling as strong as a bull moose. And let's keep this movement going.